Well, welcome to the Open Notes podcast by UTAC Publishing. Our guest today is Kiana Gerhardt, and she is the brainchild, wonder mind behind much of the tech and videos that you see on YouTube from the UTAC Scholar. Welcome, Kiana.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
Hello, and of course we have our other UTAC brain here, Nora Mortimer. She is the person who really manages content for UTAC. My name is Angela Thompson. I am the director of content and co-founder, author, all that other kind of stuff for the UTAC Publishing. So first question we have today, Kiana, can you tell us about where you're from and what inspired you to pursue an interest in higher education and publishing?
So my name is Kiana Gerhardt. I am born and raised in the US, but I got my business administration degree as an international student in South Korea. One of my focuses for the section that I really liked was marketing. So after graduation, I was looking for jobs, internships in the marketing sector, and I happened to stumble along UTAC Publishing since you were looking for a marketing intern, and here I am.
And we're very happy about that, to say the least. Let's see, do you have any particular hobbies or interests that people might not know about?
Well, I hope no one knows about me, but just more along the lines of I like reading books. I currently have read, at least in the year of 2024, 353 books. So
Wow.
I think I timed it that I can read 140 pages in an hour if the book is good. So I didn't really have any issues like reading the assigned readings in my college or any of that. So I think that would be something that not a lot of people would know.
My husband is a voracious reader like that. Sorry, Nora. He'll sit down and, a day, a 400-page book is gone. He's just plowed through it. So what were you going to say, Nora?
Is that just like reading physical books or audiobooks? I know I do like 1.75 speed on audiobooks, and that has bumped up my reading list count. But yeah, is that physical books?
I'm actually, there's this app called Libby, which is connected to my I think bookstore or library. So they have like all these books on cloud. In case people don't know, you can get all these books for free. And then I keep my eye out on Kindle and I get ebooks for free. But it's a mixture between physical and ebooks. I think one or two is audiobooks.
Okay.
Are you a fiction or nonfiction reader? Do you have a preference?
I'm trying to to have more, I would say, nonfiction, but I think the stats that I have is like 99% fiction, 1% nonfiction. But I'm trying to set a goal for myself to have at least one book a month to be a nonfiction book. And I've learned a lot from that goal this year. So I'm glad I set it for myself.
I'm almost exclusively nonfiction.
Oh.
My husband and I, when we went on our first date, we went to TGI Fridays and we bonded over the book Memoirs of a Geisha, which was one of the few fiction books that I had read in a while. And so I'm almost entirely, with occasional exceptions, Harry Potter, the Da Vinci Code, those kind of things, but almost exclusively a nonfiction person. How about you, Nora?
I would say I'm kind of like a 75-20 with fiction. Yeah, I like the sci-fi, the fantasy. I just finished a book and I had read a whole series that was kind of like romance, and I get done and I get tired of romance very easily. And so the series that I started sounded like it was going to be a romance, and I immediately texted my friend and I was like, I don't like this. I need to swap back to like a nonfiction to cleanse my palate. So that is what I use my nonfiction for.
There you go.
Wow.
I would like to ask about your Zoom background. All of us have slightly different, but I think yours is the most different, Kiana. Can you tell us a little about it?
Yeah, so I think we're currently filming the guinea pig episode for our Open Notes podcast, which will be on YouTube and in other places that this podcast will be podcast, not podcast. Podcast will be distributed. I this is I created some sort of because we already have a podcast art. I created a background that I thought could play ode to the background or the art. We have my name down here as well. So I thought it would be a good one to publicize the
Mm,
podcast.
mhm. Can you tell us a little bit about how you made that?
At first, used I thought podcast art should be simple, or I researched that it should be simple and not like a lot of clutter. So at first I used black and white because I love black and I love how white looks against black. Um, you, Nora, gave the wonderful, I'd say, color palette of pastels, which I think it makes it pop more besides the black, grungy. But yeah, it was a brainchild of the UTAC team after receiving feedback, which I loved it, like putting the open notes in the middle here, even though I had it on the side. Miss Angela was a great feedback, even though maybe it's those little things that people don't really care about, but I think it really makes it a beautiful product that we all contributed to, and it's good to see.
Yeah, when I was giving feedback, I thought about my own notes. I was a highlighter and I color coded everything. Um, I know like a little while ago there was like a trend of like, okay, was science blue or green? And why was history always like red? And so I was thinking that, and I always put like social sciences or sciences as blue, and because or sociology starting to get into other social science disciplines. I was like, maybe blue, but also maybe like a pastel highlight. So I'm glad that the color scheme kind of came into um, like a nice consensus once you worked your Canva magic.
Well, it was an interesting question or point that you brought up because I also think history is a red and
Mm,
like math and science are a blue color. I guess it's because of how they have those like pictures on the walls in my school that they
mhm,
always labeled it as that. And it's just so curious or like amazing how like a whole generation. I don't know how you think, Angela, like what history color is or what
mhm,
math is, but that whole thing is crazy.
No, I've always been not envious, impressed by people who could organize their notes with highlight with colors.
mhm.
I could never remember which highlighter to grab. And I've never thought about history as being red or science as being blue. So very much a generational thing. I think when I was in school, highlighter color was yellow and you just kind of went with it. So
Mhm. How do you organize your LMS for different classes and courses?
Now, for my courses, the LMS isn't organized by color, but my notebooks, the folders that I carry around are. So
Mm,
marriage and family is blue, intro is pink. My sociology of food was yellow. Let's see, I think Harry Potter is red. And it was more a question of how many folders of each category were available in the department at the time. I really wouldn't have necessarily chosen intro as pink, but there were a
mhm,
lot of pink folders, so I grabbed them. But the color coding makes a big difference for me teaching because I know what I can grab easily. So yeah, the color coding
mhm.
works. What about your background, Nora?
Um, like we said, we're avid readers. So I thought like library when I looked through Pinterest to find my Zoom background. Um, and I wanted something that had just a little bit of light. Usually my spot in my study, I get a lot of backlight. So I was like, okay, the background can't also be dark. But yeah, I think it's just a little cozy. It reminds me of a K-pop video actually, and so that was the deciding factor.
There you go. That's a good reason.
Mhm.
Mine is what I really wanted was a Ravenclaw sitting room, but I couldn't find one that I was concerned wouldn't be have a copyright associated with it. So I just went for a place where I would like to curl up on that couch, and that's a good nap spot for me.
Mhm.
So it just looked like a comfortable space to hang out in.
Mhm.
Love it. They both look so cozy.
There you go. Cozy is
Mhm.
good. This time of year, cozy is good. Kiana, can you tell us a little bit about your background, why you why you decided to study business? You said business when you were in
Yeah.
school. Why you decided to be an international student? Why Korea or South Korea specifically? So a little more information.
So I guess to start with how I got introduced to South Korea was, well, first of all, my mother was born and raised in the South American country, Chile. She came over here and became a citizen of the US in 2005. So I've always had this like background in, I'd say, the world because in her household, when she was growing up, she listened to German music, she listened to French music. We had all this like background. And she also had, I guess, curiosity for other things. So we got introduced in 2008 with a group called Shiny with their, I think it was called Ring Ding Dong, and lovely song. You'll never get it out of your head. Amazing. And from there, we just fell in love with the South Korean culture. So we listened to more and more music. I think the first drama that we watched was Boys Over Flowers while it was being um, published. So we just fell in love and we decided in 2014 to go and see Korea for the first time. And we went to Busan, Seoul, Jeju Islands, and it was really mind-opening to see all of this like new, different culture. My sister went there for college at Ewha Women's University, and I originally didn't want to go to college in Korea, um, but I think I did a research project in my junior year about the King Sejong, and he's labeled as one of the greatest kings in Korea because he created the written Korean language for his people. Because before, they were like a tribute country of China. So Korea was using the Chinese writing, Hanja, for everything. So Chinese writing is notorious for being very complicated. It has over 10,000 characters. So it was quite impossible, especially during that time, to 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 learn it. Only the scholars and people who had the money and the education could learn it. So King Sejong was a very forward thinker in the sense of my people need to prosper. And in order for the people to prosper, we need something that helps them. And when the people prosper, the country will prosper. So I thought that if Korea was so progressive then, how would it be now? So I applied to Seoul National University in business administration because I thought business um, is a field that makes money, and I was like, I need to make money. So I happened to apply there for that degree, and I got accepted, and I it was cheaper to go there than it was in the US, so I headed over there.
I didn't know it was cheaper there. Do they have, like, different international student rates than, like, Korean citizens?
Well, I first got a scholarship that was able to it was like a 1 year scholarship, but they gave me living expenses along with that. So I
Mm,
thought if I save my living expenses, I can pay for tuition. So it was a
mm,
very like case by case basis, at least for me. And then my parents helped pay half for a couple years. It's the tuition is different based on the department that you're in. So in science, it's more expensive. But in my department, I think my tuition was one of the cheapest, 2,440,000 Korean won, and that I think is around $1,800. So if
mm,
I pay half and my parents pay half, then that is way cheaper than tuition in even
mhm,
my home state. So
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's really
interesting.
good.
Yeah. Did you have to take the CStat? I know like college entrance exams is a big thing in Korea.
yeah, international students don't have to take the suneung or the college
Mm,
entrance exam. In a way, when I applied, I only had to give the my country's equivalent, which was the ACT or the SAT.
mm, nice. That's cool. And how was the like work culture or school culture different than what you had kind of been like socialized to expect in US college?
Um, so I'd say the US is very like not open, but more, I think, friendly in the sense of if I was in a class and I needed help, I could just go to a random student and be like, you know what? I don't understand any of the material. Is it okay if we like make a study group and like go to the library and do it? And I think a lot of the US students would be very down to just like on the fly go and be like, yeah, I'm also scared or whatever of this class. So let's do that. Let's make a study group. And in Korea, it's very, at least in the college that I went to, it's very competitive in that sense. So when I went to do my American way and asking like, hey, can we make a study group or something and like go over this material? I got a lot of like, this girl must be from an elite American college or high school, which I wasn't, by the way, from like a place that had only like 10,000 people as a population. And they saw me as competition. So if they helped me, they would be ruining their chances of getting a good grade in the class. Because in Korea, at least in my college, they have something called the bell curve. And that's where a certain amount of students can get an A, a certain amount of students can get a B, and a certain amount of students can get a C, D, and F.
Mm,
But it's assigned in a way. So only 5 students can get an A. And it doesn't really matter like your status. So in a way, I think one of the classes that I got, my final grade was maybe like an 86, but I got like a C or something like that. It's more assigned in that way. So it was really difficult for me to find friends, at least in my own department, because I was looked at as competition, and it was really difficult for me to make friends in my college.
Were the
interesting.
classes conducted in Korean? I know in some international, some universities, they do conduct their classes in English. And do you speak Korean?
Um, I think I chose specifically business administration because it's the track that I that have completed my degree completely in English. A lot of the classes were like finance or accounting that were all in English. So I ended up having to take classes in Korean because they were easier in the sense of the material was different. It was more like marketing or strategy. So it didn't have to do more with numbers, but it had more to do with like the concepts.
You would say conversationally, business Korean fluency, or
Um, that's a great question. I went there speaking like, "Where's the bathroom?" My name
mm,
is. Just that simple thing.
mhm,
But I wouldn't say that I learned a lot of like the business jargon, but I can pick out some things, but I won't be able to speak in that complicated
Mm,
mess of
mm,
like in a way, if I had to speak like this, I don't think I could be able to speak in this fluency, but I can get around and I did.
mhm,
I'm on the cusp of like doing better, but I still have to practice more.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And then what was it like transitioning back into like American work culture and starting your internship here?
I think only 1% of the population in South Korea is foreign, but like the biggest like slice of that foreigner percentage is Chinese, and then I think the next one was Mongolian. When you see me in Korea, they wouldn't expect that I speak Korean, or to a certain extent that I communicate in Korean. So a lot of people were afraid of their English skills or were afraid of me in general, so they didn't talk to me. Like if you were waiting in line, no Korean would come to me and be like, "Hi, how are you?" Like make small talk. Small talk doesn't really exist there. But in the US, for example, it's like you wait in line and the line is like 10 minutes long. You could probably just go and talk to the person behind you and say, "Hey, why is this line like so long?" And then you would like have this conversation with this person behind you, this stranger, and then leave. Like there's no issue after. So when I came back here, people were like, "Oh, hi, how are you? How are you doing? What are you gonna do this weekend?" It's like, why are you asking? Well, what's going on? Like, why do you want to know? Do you want to like hang out with me this weekend or something? Like, no, stop asking. I was like shocked. Like, why are these people asking me so many questions? Stop it. Americans are very warm people, especially when I went to the airport and I was like, welcome to the US. And the first time I like landed on the plane and one of those how would I say the immigration agents, they just smiled at me, like, welcome back home. And I just started bawling. But
Mm.
when you find those right people in Korea, they really dedicate a lot of time to you. Like my friends, they're still messaging me now and they're like, "How are you doing? I hope you're doing great this today. Like, did you eat yet?" They show care in a different way.
Yeah.
Video the other day, and it did point out, I think the person was from Germany. I'm not sure. And they were talking about something you have to adjust to when they come to the United States is people smiling at you, and people being friendly, towards you. When I lived in Boston, Boston and kind of like New York has a more of a I don't want to say less friendly demeanor, but less friendly than some other parts of the country. And I've heard people say that it just took them a long time to feel like they connected because it's not an automatic smile, how are you, want to bond with you. Even if it's not necessarily always genuine here, you do get a sense that, people, hey, how are you doing? At least you feel like you're acknowledged or you exist and they acknowledge your existence, which I think on some level is pretty important. So,
Mhm.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about what you did as an intern and what you do now, Kiana.
So originally as an intern, I joined in the summer of 2024, and y'all assigned me, how would I say, email campaigns, creating mock email campaigns, as well as like looking at market research for different colleges in higher education that have sociology programs, creating designs that would be posted on the social media. Like, they came up with an idea about happy birthday for uh, sociologists that y'all use in your engagement packages, as well as creating like video content, like introducing the new tech theme.
And the transition into contract employee, was that a lot of the same roles? Like, what was the difference?
I'd say it would be putting everything that y'all taught me in my internship into practice. So actually sending those email campaigns, actually posting content on um, our platforms like LinkedIn. And currently we're doing like posts for Pinterest and Instagram. So as well as X, YouTube now. But I think it's like cool that even though I started off as an intern, UTAC Publishing has given me, I would say, a lot of power or responsibility in giving these platforms, these passwords into my hands that I can start posting on them. So I'd say that's a quite scary thing that I'm in charge of this brand creation and making sure that brand consistency is there and that logos are correct. It's it's tough, but
Mhm.
I think it's a good tough. I like putting my degree into practice and seeing what I can do to help. And
Yeah, I have the same kind of imposter syndrome switching from intern to employee. Um, I wrote one of our engagement packages, and I would tell Angela and Amber, our other co-owner and like operations director, that sometimes as I was writing, I didn't feel qualified. And then Amber and Angela would have to like remind me, you have a degree in this. You do have the skills and the talent to write. And so kind of like just having confidence in yourself as you make that transition is kind of the big like no, as your interns, we saw that you did have what it takes to be like a part of our team. So yeah, definitely the skills that you presented in your internship were above and beyond what we could have like expected. So we're glad that you've stuck around long enough with us.
Challenges of working virtually. I mean, UTAC is we're a virtual company. Rarely are we all in the same time zone. So what is it like to work virtually? What are some of the challenges with that?
I'd say since we're all in different time zones, like y'all are in Texas, since UTAC Publishing is based in Texas, and I'm in Washington, I'm 2 hours behind y'all. So even though it's like um 10 a.m., we have a 10 a.m. meeting, CST time, we have to wake up at 8 a.m. So I'd say that's the biggest challenge because for example, I send messages. I usually work during the night. So I'm sending messages 7 p.m. my time, which I think is like an okay time to send a message. And then I forget, like, oh my gosh, it's 9 p.m. over there. Maybe they're winding down from work and I'm bothering them. Or it's 9 p.m. my time. And then, yeah. So I worry about that a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the things I like about the way we do things is, I might wake up randomly at 3 o'clock in the morning, can't get back to sleep. And so I can get some work done and I go ahead and send messages and I'm not expecting anybody to reply immediately. This is none of what we're doing is, brain surgery, lives are not dependent on it. And so we can have that level of flexibility and work at a time that works best for us. And not everybody works well at the same time.
Mhm.
So there you go.
Yeah. When you first started and sending messages, like I would get one and maybe it was like 10:45 at night. And I was like, oh my gosh, Kiana's up so late doing work. Like I was worried for your like work-life balance. And then I would have to remind myself, oh wait, okay, 2 hours behind. That's not too late. But also maybe like you're a night owl. I totally understand now. But yeah, the flexibility is nice and kind of the reorienting of virtual work from what traditionally, like a 9 to 5 or something like that, is nice to have as life gets in the way quite often. Can you talk a bit about like your favorite project that you've done for UTAC?
Cool, or the thing that I found fascinating the most was the automated workload or the automated work process.
Hmm.
Where so when you send an email campaign and you click on certain elements, I can, as the creator of the email, link something with that thing. So a trigger happens for another email or um, a certain action to be sent back to the person. So, for example, a lot of companies use it in the case you go to an online clothes store and you put something in your cart, but you decide not to buy it, but the items are still there. If the items are there for a certain time, company can send an email 3 days later and say, "Are you still interested in these items?" To keep engagement and to keep, I'd say, people's eyes on their business. So just having that, I guess, power or having that, seeing that sort of work process happen on other end was really cool because I was like, oh, I'm on this business side. Now I know like what's going on.
Mhm. And is that a skill that you learned here at UTAC or from like your degree?
I'd say a lot of the things I've learned in theory in my degree
Mhm.
about these like automation messages, and now I'm putting it in practice in UTAC. So I thought, oh, that's really amazing that I have this opportunity to use my degree because I think a lot of people are getting degrees and they're not able to use them at all. So I'm glad that I'm putting my money into work that I spent.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. What about a particularly challenging project? Kind of the flip side. Or is it like the feedback that you get on projects? Like what is the challenging part of your job?
I'd say y'all are really great at giving me constructive feedback that makes perfect sense. Like I've never felt the feedback that y'all gave me was too much for me to handle. It was, oh yeah, that totally makes sense what they're saying, especially because I'd say the most challenging thing is accessibility. First, I didn't really, I wouldn't say care, but I didn't know of its existence, this accessibility, design accessibility, because I can see fine, you know. But Nora, Angela, Amber, all the members of the UTech team have said, oh yeah, you should focus on design accessibility, making sure that people can see. So your stuff, imagine if like because of low level vision or something like that. Making sure the colors are fine, the design of the text is good to read. I think learning about that and putting it into practice and making sure that all of our stuff is pretty for everyone to see, but also visible. I think that's really something that I'm glad that y'all are putting into my brain because now I'm looking at designs in like the world. And, oh, that's gonna be hard for someone to see. Someone can't see that, or someone can't read that. And I thought, well, as a business, something that's really important to make sure that your customers are able to see your products, to see your, it's everything that you put out.
Based on your experience, what do you think it takes to be a successful intern at UTAC?
I should say to be a successful intern would just be to have this fervor for curiosity and having, I guess, something assigned to you and doing it to the best of your capability, first of all. Also, like asking those questions if you have those questions and um, if there's something extra that you think, oh, maybe so they said something like this, maybe I can do something else instead. So just adding that to it. And I think y'all are very receptive to whatever product we've we've created as an intern or as a contract employee. Um, so really, I think it's just going a little bit, even just a little bit above what your expectation is, and just asking those questions. And I think that would be what that would make you a successful intern, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And so if our expectation levels are here, how do you measure success of going above expectations?
Um, I just say it's more like you can deliver a base product of something, like whether it be a post or things like that. But to go, I think above and beyond would be, is there a design element that maybe you can add to make it a bit more fancy? Or is there like something that you can do it, make it better that they already have? How can you refine it? Like what sort of things can you do to make it easier in the future for these sorts of things to happen, or like those sorts of things, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that does.
Have an idea or um product or something you want to create that's kind of in the back of your mind, but you're thinking, I'd like to do this one day. I mean, the podcast has been in the back of my mind for a while. Nora and I have talked about it on and off for a
Mhm.
while. So this is kind of that for us. Do you have anything in mind that you'd like to work on or create or that you've been thinking about, Kiana?
I think because we have like two teams in UTAC Publishing, the marketing team really and content team, where the content team focuses more on creating like more the blog articles, or that's one of their roles. I wanted to get a better grasp on what the content team does. So maybe in the future I can help better connect the marketing and the content team to be more seamless in a way, if that makes sense. So maybe one day if I can have a role of the content intern for a few just to make like an article or see what sorts of roles and responsibilities they have. I think that could be cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I know a lot about the publishing process. I don't know anything about marketing
Mhm,
process or sales process.
mhm.
But we do have some people in our team that are wanting to cross over. They intern maybe as marketing one semester and then as like content the next. So I think a lot of the cross will help. But yeah, maybe that's what we do next year sometime when things wind down, you and I swap positions.
I think
Mhm.
that would be really cool, and then we can do like a video of our experience or like, a blog
Yeah.
post or something.
Mhm.
That'll be fun.
Is there any long-term goals that you have for your career that maybe branch outside of UTAC?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, I think I guess my long-term goal is to um, first utilize my degree in an even better way, like make sure that I can apply it um, to whatever job I get. I think that's one of my long-term goals. Is to always have this degree in use because I spent a lot of time and effort in getting it.
Mhm.
Um, and I'd say I think having a job or something that helps people is it's a very broad um, goal, but to always put people in the forefront of that, helping people, making sure that my job is meaningful in that aspect.
Sorry
I
for the
think
cat disruptions. He was napping and being so quiet and well, and now he's woken up from his cat nap and needs a little loving.
that's
So you
okay.
might see some ears. Sorry.
That's okay. My dog's
Mhm,
been poking me in the side as what happened? Why aren't
mhm.
you paying attention? So
Yes, yeah. No, I love that long-term career. You did say earlier that a lot of people might not be using their degree, but that's always been something that I really also tell my parents. Like they're like, "Okay, well, maybe go get like, this kind of job or this kind of job." I was like, "Yeah, but that's not what I want to do." I really like sociology and the content side, not the research side. That might be where the
mhm.
money's at, but that wouldn't make me happy. So, kind of sticking to your guns and ideals about what to do with your future. I think that's a good takeaway. Mhm.
And I think people often, I mean, because I had those same questions when I got my degree. I teach, I'm not a big fan of doing research. And there were a lot of people who question, like, you're a sociologist, you need to, research is where it's at. I'm like, no, not actually. I think teaching and developing material and content, I think that's way more interesting. And I think it does help people. I think it opens people's eyes to seeing the world and society in a different way, different than what they may have grown up seeing or expecting or assuming. And I think for a lot of researchers, their research often makes it to the journal, but doesn't go much further than that. And so I really wanted to be in a position to go further than that, to make it practical for people, make sociology practical. So, Yep. Well, Kiana, it's been wonderful meeting with you today. We are so happy that you are part of the UTAC team, and thank you for being our first Open Notes podcast guest or victim, either way. We appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. Nora, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I think this was wonderful. Instead of victim, I'll use guinea pig.
There you go.
But yeah, this is really great. I am excited to see how, because you're also responsible for editing. So I'm excited to see how you edit, and then I will get a transcript out also for accessibility. So the filming might be over, but the process never ends.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, thanks for having me, and I hope this is just the first of many in the Open Notes podcast.
There you go. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.